I guess he's saying Democrats spend too much time on movements like Black Lives Matter and transgender rights and not enough time talking to the white majority.
Well, I guess when it comes to identity politics, I do think identity politics, I wouldn't say is an issue. Well, it depends how you view it. In context, I do believe Trump won mainly because he was different than what everybody was used to. When you have an outsider come in and they do everything but be politically correct, that gauges the average American's mind. Who do I care? Connected people with policy. I don't know how to begin this video. We hit 5,000 subscribers, y'all. It was literally the day before Christmas, and I wake up and it's like 5,000 subs. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Jesus. That is 5,000. All glory to God. I thank y'all so much for the continuous support, y'all. Our next goal is 25,000. 25,000 subscribers. Actually, no, 100,000. 1 million. Honestly, I don't know what the next goal is. Wherever God takes us, whatever your heart desires. Before we start today's video, be sure to like, comment, and share. Press that subscribe button, press the notification button so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Millie, okay? Millie, Also, make sure you follow my second YouTube channel at CPP Pod. Y'all, I can't say too much now, but... if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. Today's video is a heated discussion on identity politics that they had on The View. This video was posted 6 years ago, but it's resurfacing, and it resurfaced on my For You page, sort of say, on YouTube. So I wanted to watch it back. I'm like, okay, let's see how much of this conversation, how it correlates to today.
Welcome back. Bill Maher has his own thoughts on why Democrats came up short and how Republicans tapped into what voters really wanted to hear. Take a look.
Ease up on the identity politics. They pulled off quite a neat trick in 2016. They made white people, who are still the majority in this country, feel like a minority, or at least enough of them to swing the election. So I think that's important, to make sure you look like you represent everybody, including the majority.
He blames identity politics. So the fact that the guy who got elected, that he started out with identity politics. He started his campaign off with identity politics. Maybe people felt like they were getting rained on. Maybe I'm crazy. But I guess he's saying Democrats spend too much time on movements like Black Lives Matter and transgender rights and not enough time talking to the white majority.
Well, I guess white people must have felt...
Okay. So let me go ahead and lower this because this is kind of loud in my ear. Okay. For one, when it comes to identity politics, I do think identity politics, I wouldn't say is an issue. Well, it depends how you view it. I think right now, this being 6 years ago, within context, I do believe Trump won mainly because he was different than what everybody was used to. That is a main reason why Trump, in my opinion, why Trump won. When you have an outsider come in and they do everything but be politically correct, that gauges the average American's mind. With this being correlated to today, I do believe the Democrats need to do more rather than just run with these talking points of identity politics. Like, you have to push out, like, for example, the Democrats right now, they are using fear to get the vote. I truly believe you have to do more than that. You have to, at some point, add substance to the conversation. You have to, at some point, add strategy and facts and so forth. But yeah,
what pronoun to use, Republicans were taking over grassroots level government. And I thought there was a point to be had here, which is, I think right now in this day and age, when you think of identity politics, you're talking about gender, you're talking about sexual identity, you're talking about race, you're talking about all of these hats. And I think the thing is, when you answer or dissent against one of these, like a conversation about one of these, you're immediately dismissed as privileged or an ist, whatever ist.
When you do what?
When you dissent, when you bring up a point that might be counter to the point being brought up, a discussion, you're instantly dismissed as privileged and or an ist, whatever ist,
sexist, racist,
homophobic, you get that label. And I think the problem there is there are people that would be allies to these causes if there was an inclusion. What we do is when there's dissent, we dismiss people, so they can't be in the conversation. I think the second thing is it goes against, it's counterproductive to those movements, which have forever been about engaging the individualism within those groups. And I think they work against their own cause when all they do is wear, like my brother always says to me, I'm a gay man, but I'm much more than that every time I call him out.
But I would say that the business...
Sarah made a really, really good point. That's a really, really solid point. Something that is very common, and it's crazy how things don't change. Because like I said before, this is 6 years ago. How that even correlates still to this day. Sometimes we're so quick to write people off when they have a counterpoint to, within the left party specifically. We're so quick to write people off when they have a counterpoint to our personal agenda or our personal beliefs. Sometimes they're not homophobic. Sometimes they're not racist. Sometimes they're not maneuvering in privilege. Sometimes they may genuinely disagree or they may genuinely have questions. And for us to be more inclusive, especially within, not necessarily as a party, but just as in this country in general, we have to be willing to have these conversations with people who even disagree with us. We can't be so quick to write people off the moment they disagree with us, because that says more about us than it does about them.
The business of that they were busy worrying about whether we call them the Redskins or not. The Republicans were doing grassroots politicking in all of these states. I think that those two things are separate. The fact that we were doing that, saying the Redskins is racist, has nothing to do with the fact that they were not doing their grassroots business. So that you can continue to be, sensitive to minorities and do your grassroots business. Because the Koch brothers moved right in there and took over, put a lot of money into it, and the Republicans were busy what they call gerrymandering, which basically steals that seat, which is going to happen again in 2018. Be aware.
Well, I think Whoopi, your point that you introed with, Donald Trump is not the best parallel to this, because he too, I think, engaged in identity politics and doesn't get called on it enough.
Which is why people, when you come out the gate with there's something wrong with you, that group goes, wait a minute, I need to protect myself because y'all don't get it. So I don't know much about what Bill is talking about, because what I recognize is that, I listen.
From what I heard, just based off the clip that Bill said, I think Bill is saying that the Democrats have to do more than just bring on someone's identity. Like, you have to add more substance to the surface. You can't just, because identity, in my opinion, that's just the surface of it. That's just a surface level of it. Whether you're black, white, gay, whether you're woman, man, like whatever the case may be, that's just the surface of it. It goes deeper. So I think what he was trying to say is that the Democrats have to go deeper than just surface level. But I could be wrong. That's just how I'm interpreting it. And I don't know the girl's point prior to Whoopi, who just spoke prior to Whoopi, she makes a good point, because Trump plays into identity politics as well. I don't think he does it as much, but he still has done it. I think it's just like a political thing in general to grab more people in your corner, but it's very, very common. It's not necessarily only a left thing.
To how people treated the last president, who was inclusive and included lots of white people. He included everybody. He didn't talk race. But, and so for that, we got reintroduced to the Klan and everybody else that sort of popped out. And I'm sorry, white people have always run the country. And when you say, hey, listen, this isn't working here or here, that's not setting you up to call you an ist. What gets people called ists is their response to things. If you're saying, you know, I don't like you because you're in this thing like Black Lives Matter, as opposed to, well, what exactly is it so I can understand it? And how come all these white people and Latino people and Greek people and all these people are part of Black Lives Matter?
Right.
This is an inclusion that people don't say, hey, there's a lot of people marching for this, we should pay attention. As opposed to, you know, oh, it's trying to mess up with the cop.
I think what he's trying to do actually is reform the Democratic Party over time. And what he's saying is that oftentimes, and I feel this as a female, when Democratic politicians talk to me as a woman and talk about women's issues, they talk about things related to my ovaries. And I always come back and I say, jobs and but they don't. But jobs and healthcare, those are women's issues too. And I think that's what's missing.
What do you think your ovaries are? That's part of women's.
But I think in this campaign in particular, because it was a woman president, you heard a lot of break the glass ceiling, vote for her because she's a woman.
What?
No, but that's but vote for her because she's the best candidate.
I like that. I agree. Because it's like, you can't, I agree. Because we did that with Obama. I'm not even going to lie. I wasn't old enough to vote. But we voted Obama in because he was black. Well, a lot of us did, at least. And it's like, I think what she's trying to say is like, we have to change our mindset. We can't just say, okay, vote for, at this time they're speaking about Hillary Clinton. We can't just say, oh, vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. Be the first woman president. Like, people are saying like, it has to go deeper than surface level. That goes back to Bill's previous point of how I interpreted it. You want to vote for someone because they're the most qualified. Vote for her. Like, for example, VP Harris. We want to say, okay, vote for VP Harris as vice president because she's the most qualified, not because she's a black woman. I think that's what the girl is saying, and how identity politics can do more harm than good.
Or man.
Do you not know that we went through the same thing? We went through the same thing.
Can I clarify something real quickly? When we reduced, what I'm saying is I understand why there are politics and identifiable groups. I went to an all-women's college. It's because we couldn't go to other schools at the time when they were developed. I get that. People should build each other up and be in these groups, but when it's the only flag you fly, you're missing the uniting factor.
Except that when it's the only flag that's flown against you, like what I was going to say to you about identity politics, you know, people would walk up to people and say, you just voted for Barack Obama because you're black. Not because he was the best candidate, because people don't assume that we're smart enough to recognize the better candidate. People
they said that to me about Hillary.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That goes back to her first point, because she's saying like, don't put it out there. Because let's keep it a buck. A lot of us did only. I keep saying a lot of us as if I voted, but a lot of people in my community, we did vote for him because he was black. A lot of people didn't know his policies. People just saw a black brother in the office, was like, okay, I never seen this before, and I want to be part of history, and they casted his ballot. Is something wrong with that? I mean, I think that's what Sarah and her friend is saying. The girl to her right, left, whatever the case may be. I think that's what they're trying to say. It's like, yeah, identity politics is something may not be wrong with that when we look at a surface level, but when we go deeper, we want to pull out less identity and more unity. Like, start talking about policies, start talking about why they're the best candidate, not just what they are, but what they bring. I think they're technically saying the same thing to a certain extent, but Whoopi's like missing the holes of their.
Excuse me one second. You know that you wouldn't have voted for Ben Carson.
No, I know that. That's
exactly.
Right. But it would be insulting. But it is insulting.
It's insulting to speak to me as if I'm supposed to support the woman because she's a woman.
Nobody said that.
That is said all the time to me.
You may have heard that from people.
I heard that I betrayed my gender. No, I didn't. I stuck to my principles.
But
why not
and I didn't vote for
because she's a woman?
As you recall,
why not vote for her because she's a woman?
Because I disagree with her on everything.
Oh man. At the end, Sunny goes, why not vote for her because she's a woman? That's her point. She's saying she disagrees with her. It's deeper than surface level. Hello. This whole identity politics stuff, I see it as, bro, vote for who puts the best policies up that benefits, that makes your life and your community and your family's life easier. That's what I say. That makes the overall well-being of the people in this country easier. Problem solved. With that being said, I want to thank y'all for watching today's video. I want to say thank you again. I can barely even talk. I want to say thank you again for the 5,000 subscribers. I just appreciate it. Like, y'all know I'm already shy, so. Y'all, make sure you follow me on my social media, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video. I have a question for y'all. comment down below. What do you think about identity politics? Think it's taking too much space in our conversations? How do you feel? Comment down below. Thank you all for viewing. Thank you all for watching. This is Uruguay, connecting people with policy. God bless you all. I love y'all and happy holidays.